And during that time too with COVID, one of our teammates, Wilson, came to me and demonstrated what a cold pressed juice was
Okay.
compared to like juicing when it grinds and spits it out.
Okay.
And he
Huh.
had the recipes and the whole idea, and he created a wellness juice package, a
Okay.
weight loss juice soup and juice program,
Right. Right.
and that's such a
Awesome.
viable aspect of who we are, and the community really embraces that.
Right. Right.
And people don't know, but you can go on to GinoTheSoupMan.com and have juice sent to your home that we press and immediately freeze,
Wow.
so that you can use right out of your freezer anytime you want. And the nutrient value is 100% because of the quick freezing aspect that we do.
Right.
But you can get it fresh at the stores too, but you only have a couple days to drink it because it's
Right.
fresh, cold pressed juice.
Well, and that's like
So,
my smoothie recipe. I tell them that you have to drink it. Once you make it, you got to drink it right there.
yeah,
But if you freeze, like the girl at Natural Grocers, Sharon, she was talking about, she says that, yeah, if you freeze the vegetables quickly, the organic stuff, then you can buy, if you want to buy some produce and stuff, and it's frozen, at least you know it might be even better than the stuff sitting on the shelf that's organic because it's had to be shipped in, it's been sitting there sometimes. I'm not saying it's not great, but I'm saying like, and well, also, if you go to a store that has organic and non-organic, remember, a lot of those guys are touching the same stuff with the same, without, with the same. Sometimes they don't change their gloves. So,
just wash.
but yeah, watch. So they should be
Yep.
changing every time. They should change their gloves when they touch organic versus non-organic, because otherwise you're putting pesticides on their organic. So, but wash, yeah, wash. However they do it, vinegar, or whatever, water, or whatever, you just wash it off. So
Yep.
regardless, I would wash your organic still. Yeah. Okay, yeah, I'm almost done. I'm getting through it for you. I appreciate the time. Let me see here. Okay, so personal reflection. So what you and Julie built together reminds me of my own family. Like I was saying, like when I was younger, I had my aunt, Italian restaurant, and it was awesome. We used to go there, but back then the food was not. It wasn't like it is now. This was back in the '80s, and even probably the '70s even. That shows you that I'm 53. I've been around a little bit, but so it reminds me of like a family kind of restaurant. And my mom and dad also, they used to have 3 Hallmark card stores in Southern California, and I remember them. They they were a team. They would work. It was difficult. It was challenging. They would always go around and do their thing. And I always see Gino and Julie popping in the stores. They're always working with everybody. It's a lot of work, and it's a lot. But you guys are doing the same kind of hustle with heart and honesty, right? And it shows in the food and the energy and your staff. So I guess the question was what you and Julie built together. Just a reflection on that. That's kind of what I was going to ask.
And also for the record straight is in 2012, we had 4 people we still have them in our lives, not had, that also were like, they believed in it. They were buying Gino the Soup Man soup at Juicebox Yoga. We got to be friends with them. 2 are doctors, Dr. Sean Devlin and Dr. Ann Barnett. They're our business partners. They invested in Grateful Gardens to get us off the ground.
Okay.
But not only that, they've been key aspects to how we've grown, how we our leases and the business side of it, as well as the heart side, because they both come from a very heart-centered background.
Right.
And then Cindy Wallace and Kim Radzik, 2 of our best friends. Cindy was actually in the beginning a partner in the business, and until recently we bought her out, but she still works for us and
Right.
and continues to participate at a level. And Kim was our guide in our financial success and making sure that AP and all the automations and payroll and all that went smooth. And now we're solid. So we had a very heart-centered group of board of directors,
Right.
and it translated into the business. I will tell you this: there were times during COVID, especially, where I just gave it to God. I just said, "There's no way that we have the cash flow to stay in business," and somehow
Right.
the bottom line always worked out. So there is a certain amount of faith,
Right.
and I've noticed that managing the business around the people
Right.
and what's best for the, like we're a producer of jobs,
Right.
but we're also a restaurant and a hospitality company.
Right.
So really staying true to that has given me more fulfillment and a softer go at it.
Right.
I tend to be very emotional.
Right.
And thank God I have the team around me, especially Julie and Cindy and the gang with the doctors, to remind me of what our true nature is. And I believe we've been divinely guided and divinely protected. And I believe the community gets something from it, not only in the form of food, but in the form of emotion and natural love and concern.
Right.
And I feel honored because we all got one exit strategy.
Right. Right.
And if that's what we leave behind, then I'll have fulfilled every aspect of life that I could possibly want to fulfill. It's definitely not about the money.
Right.
And I know how to shift things around and
Right.
make money, but that's not what I spend my time engineering.
Right.
I spend my time on the stuff that really makes a difference, and so does Jules. And
Isn't it amazing how everything comes together? Like how like, what happens if you don't meet them? What happens if they don't meet you, right? All this stuff. It's weird how life is, right? Like, yeah, it's amazing. You guys are all blessed, right, to be able to be together
so much.
and then just good people, in general. It's like good people, you know. So that's awesome.
It's good stuff.
Yeah. That's awesome. The one thing I forgot to ask, I just want to just ask you real quick. Was there something in your childhood or something that got you to think this way too? Like for me, my grandpa, he had it was organic back then, a garden he grew all the time, right? And I remember like, God, man, my grandma would make salads and stuff, and then they died and all that, but then my brother died, and then I kind of was like, I lost it. I kind of went organic on everything, and I created a garden, and I started growing these tomatoes and all this. I was like, what is going on? This is just, and I loved it, And that was 2012 when I did that. So I was just wondering before we because we're almost done here,
Yeah.
I was just wondering, was there something in your childhood too that kind of jumped out, that you can remember? Like, man, that's how. Besides the smoothies and stuff like that, was there something else that you?
I mean, immigrant parents on both sides, mom and dad, Armenian on one side, Italian on the other, and home cooked food and hospitality was just part of our everyday life.
Okay.
The big family gatherings, the making of the ravioli,
Italian culture.
yeah, the
for sure.
gnocchi. On the Armenian side, all the fresh parsley and the tabbouleh style meals, and
Wow.
it's
Yeah.
kind of like Greek Armenian is all a lot very similar. So that Mediterranean diet,
Right.
and everybody grew tomatoes. That was
Right.
the one thing. That's why I have a tomato tattoo.
Yeah. All right.
Everybody grew tomatoes,
Yeah.
and even in Italy, when Julie and I went back, the trellising strategy that they use is exactly what my grandpa and my dad did here in the United States.
Wow,
So
cool.
it's just part of the family, and
Awesome.
that fresh food was amazing. And
Yeah.
I also experienced Michigan food because in the winter, all that stuff wasn't. I don't mean Michigan's bad,
Right.
but my mom cooked, Midwest meals too that
Right.
were, Betty Crocker and all those kind of common brands from the '60s that a lot of the mothers and fathers were marketed on.
Huh.
So I got to experience both in the same house. The
Right.
stuff that wasn't so healthy
Right.
and the stuff that was super healthy.
Right.
And there was a really big difference in how you felt.
Wow.
But
Right.
until, my 40s, I really didn't think about it.
Right.
I just was like, that's just life.
That's funny because me the exact same. So I was like 40 is when I just figured it out, and since then, I don't know. I've overcome a lot. I think we both have.
Well, and our
So-
thoughts are as important as what we put in there.
Oh yeah, too. Yeah, that's true. Yeah, the mindset. Yeah, absolutely. For the viewers, right?
Okay.
For someone just starting to eat clean,
Yeah.
what's one simple shift they can make?
One simple shift you can make is find something that you can grow in a pot in your yard. I know this is going to be out there. Just something you can grow that you can be successful at. So no matter where you live, there's something that can grow. And you don't have, even if you're in an apartment, you get a pot.
That's what got me going, really, growing that vegetable garden, that garden. Wow, that's true.
Because when you get your hands in the soil and then you eat that first, homegrown that you created,
Right.
you're gonna stimulate a new inspiration that will have you then start seeking out other informations and more of that.
Right.
And that that's what first came to mind when you said that.
Right.
It wasn't go eat meat only or eat. It's really about creating inspiration within yourself.
Well, when I started this channel too, it was before I even started this part of the channel, which I'm about longevity and stuff, but I had garden videos. And so people go and they watch those videos and they see how I grew. This is like just when I was here in Northern Nevada, not in California. So it's pretty amazing because I'm trying to inspire people also to grow their own food, but that's not part of it. Like I just have that. That's a playlist on here you can look at if you want, but yeah, that's interesting you said that because that's what got me going. Like when I was thinking, then it really got me thinking, even more like, oh my goodness, there's something so special about this. And I really learned to appreciate. And then my mom was asking me one day, you can't buy that as a green $6 tomato. And I said, it was heirloom and it was super sweet, by the way. And she was like, and I was like, yeah, Mom, I'm going to buy it, and she's like, no, don't buy it. I'm like, I'm buying it. Like, so then I bought it and she's mad at me and I told her and I was eating it. It was so good. But that's when I first started learning out. Like, that sounds kind of nutty, right? But I did it and I still would do it, because that tomato was the tastiest tomato and I knew it was giving me some really good nutrition, not full of pesticides. So the next question, if someone was trying to open a health-focused business, what advice would you give?
Well, to really get clear on your purpose and the mission and what your vision is for not just the business, but for the service that you're going to offer.
Right.
Really get clear on that because a lot of people have really good ideas, but without a clear understanding, without that strategy, that base of information and a vision of what you want to see happen from it,
right?
You muddle through a lot of weeds before you get to a really good space.
Okay, yeah.
And it's worth
like
spending time.
Right?
Yeah. And find people that are skilled.
You have to fight through it, right? You have to make sure you fight through them hurdles, right?
And collaborate.
Right. And collaborate,
right. And work with people.
Right.
Pay somebody to help you if you don't know how to vision.
Right. Okay. Good advice. Yeah. So there's some great advice, you guys. And then the last question: what's next for your restaurants and your mission?
Well, just to continue, and to continue looking for opportunities to support homegrown, local grown. I've got a guy saying, in 8 months, I'm going to have beef for you. And I'm like, okay, I can't wait to see it.
Right.
So looking for those things. We've got a new concept that we want to roll out that could be really cool.
Okay.
And I can't really announce it yet, but if it does come through, it's going to have some really cool things as a part of it.
I'm excited to see what that is. Okay, well, maybe we'll whatever that is, maybe we'll talk about it, or maybe I'll talk about it in another video sometime.
Cool.
So, well, thank you, Gino.
Thank you too, Ron.
I really appreciate this. I think you've answered all the questions.
Good.
And Julie, hi Julie, if you get to watch this, I wish you were here, but I know you guys are always working, getting this stuff, making sure that everybody's happy and feeding the world. So thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you, Gino.
Thank you too.